Deep in the heart of Transylvania, Romania, there's a forest which looms darkly over the landscape and holds a nasty secret. A place where trees are said to twist unnaturally, where strange lights flicker between the branches, and where the air itself seems to hum with an unseen force. Step inside and you might hear whispers and disembodied voices calling out to you from deep inside the shadows. Some who have entered have never returned again, whilst others have walked out only to find that time has slipped away without explanation. Locals call it Hoia-Baciu, the world's most haunted forest. But is this just a supernatural legend, or might there be a bizarre but true story lurking if you dare to go down to the woods today? Nestled in the foothills of Romania's Apuseni Mountains, just outside the city of Cluj-Napoca, lies the infamous Hoia-Baciu Forest. Though it spans only 1 square mile, its sinister reputation spreads far beyond its small size. Visitors report feelings of nausea, anxiety, and even the sensation of being watched from the shadows. Electronic devices frequently malfunction without any explanation, and some say that their skin seems to burn as if it's been exposed to a malevolent yet invisible force. But it's not just feelings, there's stories too, and the deeper you look, the stranger they become. One of the most chilling tales tells of a young girl who vanished into the trees and disappeared without a trace. Search parties combed the forest, but she was never found. And then, 5 years later, without warning, she re-emerged exactly as she'd been on the day that she disappeared. Her clothes were clean, untouched by time, and she had no memory of where she'd been. Some versions of the story claim that she was never the same afterwards, and that something had changed her in ways that nobody could understand. And she isn't the only one. Tales of people vanishing in Hoia-Baciu have now become commonplace. A shepherd said to have led his flock of 200 sheep into the woods, never to be seen again. Not a single trace of man nor animal was ever found. Hikers report losing track of time, experiencing hours or even days of memory loss, with no idea of what's happened to them whilst they've been inside the forest. And then there's the lights. Flickering red and orange orbs are frequently reported as moving through the trees. Some believe they're spirits, whilst others say that they're portals into another world. But perhaps the most famous sighting of all happened back in 1968, when a military technician named Emil Barnier captured what many believe to be photographic evidence of a UFO hovering above the forest. It was a bright metallic disc that hung in the sky before suddenly vanishing again. His photographs, examined for manipulation, showed no signs of tampering, and to this day, they remain one of the most controversial images in UFO history. Hoia-Baciu's unsettling reputation, though, isn't just down to supernatural claims. Scientists have long been intrigued by the forest's physical anomalies. The trees here don't grow straight. Instead, they twist and spiral unnaturally as if they're writhing towards an unseen force. Stranger still, every tree bends, specifically in a clockwise direction. Scientists have studied the forest, trying to explain why its growth patterns are so distorted, but no one yet has been able to give a definitive answer. And then there's the so-called dead zone, a perfectly round clearing near the southwestern edge of the forest where nothing grows. Soil tests have been conducted, but no clear reason has been found that explains why any plant life refuses to take root there. Some still believe it's the landing site of UFOs, whilst others say that it's a site of ancient rituals where restless spirits now roam and cause disturbances to modern life. But whatever the reason, those who step into the clearing often report an overwhelming sense of dread, as if they're not alone. Some researchers claim that Hoia-Baciu is a geomagnetic anomaly, a place where the Earth's magnetic field behaves erratically. But when they examined the geomagnetic data, they found no evidence of any unusual activity. The forest, at least on a measurable level, is no different from any other wooded area elsewhere. And yet, countless visitors report compass malfunctions and inexplicable interference with their electronic devices. Skeptics argue that Hoia-Baciu's dark reputation is simply the result of folklore and the power of suggestion. They point out that no official records exist of people disappearing in the forest. The famous story of the missing girl? No names, no dates, just a legend passed down the years by locals. The tale of the vanished shepherd? Not a single documented report. It's easy, they say, to get lost in the allure of a ghost story and to let the mind play tricks in an environment that's already steeped in mystery. But believers argue that the absence of concrete scientific evidence is completely meaningless when so many visitors report similar and unexplained experiences. They say that the forest holds secrets which science can't yet explain, and that the feelings of unease, the strange lights, the missing time, all point to something that we don't yet understand. Adding to the mystery even further are reports from paranormal investigators who claim that they've recorded unexplained phenomena within the forest. Voices caught on tape, whispering in an unknown language, thermal imaging, picking up figures that shouldn't be there, and electromagnetic spikes where no power sources exist nearby. Some researchers have gone so far as to say that Hoia-Baciu may even be a window between dimensions, a thinning of the veil between our world and another. The history of the forest only deepens the intrigue even more, as some locals believe that it used to be the site of ancient rituals, where sacrifices, both animal and human, were made to appease forgotten gods. Archaeological digs have even uncovered artifacts dating back for thousands of years, but no conclusive records remain of exactly what transpired in this woodland so long ago. Psychologists, though, have their own explanations for what's happening in the forest. Professor Chris French, an expert in anomalistic psychology, believes that many paranormal experiences can be easily explained by the quirks of the human brain. He suggests that when people enter a place that's already steeped in mysterious folklore, their minds become hyper-aware, primed to notice every little sound, shadow, or movement around them. In a place like Hoia-Baciu, even a gust of wind or a snapping twig can be interpreted as something otherworldly. French also highlights something known as Pareidolia, the brain's tendency to see faces and patterns where none exist. Twisted trees and shifting moonlight can create illusions, making people believe that they've seen ghostly figures lurking in the branches. And then there's infrasound, low-frequency vibrations that humans can't consciously hear but can still affect them. Studies often link the presence of infrasound to feelings of unease, dizziness, and even hallucinations in humans. If the forest naturally generates these types of vibrations, then it could explain why so many visitors report feeling watched or even hearing whispers in the dark. For those who are brave enough, the forest's open to visitors. There's even guided night tours where thrill seekers can experience its unsettling atmosphere firsthand. Some leave unimpressed, feeling nothing more than the chill of the Transylvanian air, whilst others walk away shaken, convinced that they've encountered something beyond their comprehension. So, what is Hoia-Baciu? A paranormal hotspot, a trick of the mind, or something else entirely? Well, the forest's waiting, but if you dare to step inside, be careful, because you might not come back quite the same.